How much money can you really make by just putting logos on stuff? Today we are talking to an entrepreneur that has built a £10 million turnover business. His name is Taylor Tassie. He's going to tell us about starting his business from his bedroom.
Oh, can you do a better price to that? And I would literally go, just pop down and speak to the production manager in the warehouse. And it would be me in the bedroom.
How coaching and mentoring was crucial for him growing his business.
I think the other thing I've met with people, they go, oh yeah, I had a coach. Right, you had one. Well, that's when you were $1 million turnover. We're a completely different business now.
And the day he nearly lost it all.
They said, we can't tell you if it's all gone.
Oh.
And we're like, you can imagine.
I think you're really going to enjoy this one. I'm James Martin, and this is Entrepreneur Conversations. Taylor, thank you. Well, I mean, I say thank you. You've travelled enough, or you come straight from the airport from Dubai.
I'm committed.
Whereabouts in Dubai have you been staying at?
We are near, so just a little bit out, so about 20 minutes. We're on a golf estate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is nice. It's a little bit out of the hubbub.
And explain to the listeners what and viewers, you're trying before you're sort of moving. Is that really what you're doing?
Yeah. So we've, over the last sort of 12 months or so, we really have had a big spike in leads, inquiries and projects that we've been doing in the Middle East. We went out there for about 6 weeks last year just to sort of really get a feel for it. And I was a bit on the fence. Do we, don't we? You know, there's a lot of people in, well, not just our business, but in a lot of different areas that have, you know, used the UK as a bit of a cash cow in terms of their, you know, the mothership.
Yeah.
12 months later, they spend so much trying to get something out abroad going, whether it's the States, Europe, whatever it may be, and it just brings everything down with it. And we just don't want to be another one of those. So we are moving quite cautiously, which is against my nature. But yeah, we've moved out there because we are taking it pretty seriously, and we're really building some connections, relationships.
But your business, so people understand what you do. I mean, you're everything to do with branding from you've done stuff for our company. You always attend the conferences where I see you with your team there, but from as little as a mug, a t-shirt, to workwear, to colleges, to universities, to local authorities, you do a lot, but on scale. And you do most of this in-house? Yeah,
the in-house is growing and growing for us. So we started out as we weren't doing much in-house, and we've built that over the years. So it now represents almost half of our revenue is produced under our own roof. And
what always amazes me with that business is that you how much stock you have to hold to deliver these orders swiftly on time. Yeah. You're carrying a lot of SKUs, aren't you?
And it's crazy. I mean, you think a pen. Yeah. But it's not just a pen, because even one line of pen, you've then got 15 colorways of the pen, because you've got the red logo, the brand, the black, and then it's, I want a gel pen, or I want a metal pen, I want a soft touch. You know, it's you could carry £1 million just worth of pens, let alone everything else. Are you
doing the thing? I was out there with James. Are you doing China? Do you go out there? Do you buy out there?
Yeah, we are in China. Yeah. We're starting to do more there. It's just becoming so competitive in the UK. So we are doing that. We've got a real good relationship with a lot of people in the UK and Europe, but we are bringing things in from China, yeah.
Because one of the things I noticed when I was doing some research to have you over today was in Poland. You do quite a lot out there, don't you, in Krakow?
Yeah, definitely.
So they're one of your suppliers out there?
Yeah, we've got some real big, probably two of our biggest sort of generalist wholesalers. I mean, they've got, I think it's something like the last time we went over there, they're up to something like 2 million square foot. I mean, it is. You just can't picture. It is just obscene.
And Taylor, you've got quite a mission on, because you, whether I'm meant to say it or not, but I'll say it. You said to me that you would like to exit the business, and that comes at £100 million turnover.
That's the goal.
Right. So you're just over 10 now. What's the timeline? If I put you on the spot on the pod, what would be your timeline to get to that 100? Seriously, in your head.
We think we can do it in 20 years.
Right.
Yeah. We've forecasted. We've got a forecast mapped out 20 years, and we've got our sort of compound annual growth rate planned out. It's around 16%, which is very low ball. So we're very conservatively aiming for that. But we are growing most years 45%.
And we were speaking just on the pre-chat there, and you were talking, I was sort of trying to throw some nuggets of stuff in there, but you were saying that it will be through building up the existing factory and team that you've got, but also you'll do some acquisition, won't you? Buy some other companies.
Yeah. I don't believe that in my lifetime we could build it to that completely organically, and I think it would be stupid to, just given the amount of talent that's out there, the amount of people that have already put tens of thousands of hours into building different pieces of software. I mean, we had a few people. There was a company that unfortunately went into administration in our industry recently, and a few people have joined from their procurement, from their production, different, and it just gave me the wake-up call that I needed to think, oh my God, there are these people, and these people have just transformed our business. Not only do they have such an incredible way about them, because they've been through a business folding, they've got all these scars. Okay, they didn't own the business, but these people are senior people within the business. They understand the telltale signs of what's going to send you on a wobble. And they've got so much knowledge because they've been in the industry, before I was even conceived.
So what would have tipped them over the edge then? Do you know what happened to them?
Funnily enough, from what I've been told, the telltale signs were that they expanded internationally, into Europe and some other territories, and the UK became that cash cow that I described, which is probably another reason why my angst, and I'm probably going a little bit slower with it at the minute.
But you have good hands around the business, because your father's in there as really finance director for the company. And you were telling me he's got a background in QS, so he's all things numbers and margins.
Spreadsheet, loves a spreadsheet.
But I mean, that's very good. You've got mum in there. What does mum do?
So yeah, mum works remotely. She's basically in the finance team. So she's, bookkeeping, accounting, that sort of stuff. And both your brothers? Yeah, both my brothers. So Mitchell is our sort of head of commercial, so he's doing all the sales, marketing, and Cody, my youngest brother, he's head of ops and production.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it swimmingly great, or is it swimmingly horrible? What's it like? Come on.
It's always everyone's first question. Do you know what? As the last year, 2 years, I'll be honest, have been, for us as a duo, as a team, it's been fantastic, really good. But it didn't start that way. There's been a lot of slam doors, a lot of yous.
But are you the boss?
Yeah, I'm quite. I think James always has a really good. I love it it's a democratic dictatorship.
Yeah.
So we've got that respect of. There has to be
It's
someone
a very good saying.
I just think it's.
Someone's got to make the bloody decision.
Yeah, and I think it would all fall apart if that wasn't in place.
Yeah.
I do think that, and we've got such a great relationship where I've got the respect of, guys, we sit around this table. We're all around this table because I genuinely, trust you. You are the senior team. If you guys say no to something, and my gut goes, yeah, you know what, you're right. We'll stop it. Yeah. But sometimes someone needs to bang their fist on the table, and that does happen. And when it does happen, they go, right, he knows.
But the story you just told about the other company that went out of business, I was looking up on some of your YouTube channel, and you were talking just recently about dashboards and how it works, and your sort of management of the week. Or the day. You manage it daily because you've got so much activity going on through the factory and on invoicing and receivables. I think it is key, don't you? I mean, I can walk into my office across the road here, and I'll ask Linda in accounts, and she'll tell me by the hour what we're owed, what we've got to receive, what's in date, out of date. And I can know that at any time because everything is served onto our systems hourly. It's put on.
I think when I speak to people that are going through a bit of a tough time and things are sort of dwindling downwards, and you then say, right, so have you had a look at like the inputs? Input. Well, we've got a P&L, and you're like, it's too late.
No, it's too late.
We need to be dealing with this on a daily basis. And I just think for
you can
us,
have a busy month and run out of wages, can't you?
I just think who wants to be getting to that point, and so many do. But I think the best way I've described it to people is with having those daily dashboards, not just how much money we took through the till, but like literally what's the wait time, how many orders have we shipped out, what's the percentage of waste. I just think that you can sit there without even being on the shop floor and you can look at it and go, right, the problem is there. And I feel like sometimes we can sit there with a sniper rifle and we're dialed into the target. We need to go and pull that lever and do that, and everything will be solved. Rather than how we used to operate, which was, I felt like we stand there with a machine gun for a week to deal with the problem. And I just think in this day and age, with the way people, with the way tech's moving, the way these new businesses are popping up, and you've got to be on your game.
I think what I really agree with the way you do it, because it creates a culture within the team that's how we do it. And I speak, we speak to hundreds of entrepreneurs, and they're making good margins, so they're not looking. I think it's fickle, and I think that when you see who they are, they're not multi-million pound businesses. They're kind of entrepreneurs with a good thing going on, and that's not really good enough. If you're in this for multiple million pound long game, your culture of marshalling the money going out, the margin. You recently doing this big move to a new factory. I was talking to you earlier. Where is the money coming from to do that move? It's got to come from somewhere, and it's actually got to be diluted back through that year's trading, because that's heavy.
I just think you've got to be manager. I mean, we're just in the process of phasing this down, just because we have thousands of transactions. But I think one of the reasons that we've never been overdrawn, we've never woke up and gone, how are we going to pay the wages, is because we have managed our cash. We've had a really simple spreadsheet, and we've had it for the last 8-9 years, which is on a daily basis, cash in, out, balance. And we are mapping. My dad's sitting there every day going, right, moving this, right, we need this amount, and we're communicating on, and we're planning. We go, oh, maybe we should dial that back, or can you wait 2 weeks to order that? And we're at that level of detail. But most people are just waking up going, how's the bank looking? Or better chase some debt.
It's not good enough. And I think that it goes back to what I said earlier, that the serious business owner and entrepreneur and scaler, I think that's the word. Our foresight is that this is something we're building to sell, but the buyer, when he looks inside the business and sees that detail, he's a warmer buyer, because he goes, oh, well, this is not going to be fiddly for me to buy and own, because they've already got all the processes, checks and balances in place. I resonated with something you were saying in one of your YouTube videos about the big customer and how the margin sometimes isn't there, and the churning small orders, repeatable with the margin built in, and there's no wavering on it. We get a bit of starstruck, don't we? And I remember when we used to do the big tree works for Andrew Lloyd Webber or Rod Stewart. We were working with all these famous people. We got into all this from Chelsea Flower Show. We would give them discounts and margins because we wanted the work, because we wanted to show off. But when you look back on the balance sheet, it wasn't the greatest job in the world. If you broke even, you were lucky, because they were very particular or very needy, because they're a big contract or a big noise. So I did resonate with that.
But I think a lot of people don't, like you say, they don't fully appreciate. And it took me a while to understand this, but even with us, if you really seriously break down the job by every thing that's gone in, like, say with the fuel, for us, it's the ink, it's how long has it truly took, and when you actually break it down, it's actually sometimes shocking. Because I think people look at it, I've just invoiced a 15 grand job. Wow. The money hits the bank, feels good. But it's when you really drill into it, and sometimes it's not even even the P&L. That's why I don't think the P&Ls tell enough, because you could be, it's not a terrible job, but the appreciation internally, this is what sparked it for me, is that we started to get this culture where we started falling away from giving that care and attention to the 100 quid jobs. 50 pence. And I was like, no. Let's break this down. Let's have a look here together. Look at the difference here in what that customer who's bought 50 pence is worth in comparison, in percentage terms. That's who you want to be looking after. It's just, but I don't think until you really truly spend the time investing, and I think you need someone. Well, I was always a bit cute with it, because I was obsessed with in-house. I was obsessed with the big jobs. Younger me, 18-year-old me, and I think that it's not until you sit down with someone who's not objective to it and goes, no, be honest, you're not getting 100 bags printed an hour. Susan's hurt her leg, you got 70. and you go, shit, we ain't made any money. Because, and as you grow, I think
on the scale.
Because you said to me earlier, like, you know, with what we do, it's quite fiddly, and there's a lot of moving parts. We're not picking up Coke cans and shifting them. And it does only take, and as you scale and you're maybe not on the shop floor as much, you know, your margins are relying on said operator still hitting those targets a year on from when it was costing.
And it's also with what you do, it's making sure that box goes out and the quality control is there. The returns aren't going to hit, because the returns are just painful, aren't they? I mean, it's just...
You can't resell it.
No, but you can't resell it. No. The effort to go back into it, the time lag and all the rest of it, there is definitely no profit on a return from your business, is there? There's no way you get... So it has to go out... you know, in a particular way that's first class.
And for the retention, because the big thing, we have a monthly all hands, whole company, and I will never tire of saying, we do a thing where we put a slide up, all of the great reviews of the month. And I just go over and over again. I said, our cost to acquire a customer is £230. We, on our margins and our AOV, we do not make a profit until they come back the second time. I can't stress to you enough how important it is that customer is like, I'm never looking anywhere else. They have to come back. And you only get one chance, don't you? You know.
I mean, the whole thing about discounts. I think the language is very careful what you have to use. You know, here we don't give discounts, but if you sign on this month, you might get some money behind the bar. Because that's something that we're as an offer, and I think it's very, you know, the wording and the wordsmith of how you make offers available and not ever using the word discount is quite important. Your background is right back to school. You came out, you were selling print and leaflets, and you've always been in it. When did you get to the point where you wanted to do it on your own? When did that happen?
I think, well, funnily enough, I found in my old Apple notes, I was clearing out the other day because the phone storage was filling up, and I found an old note from 2015, like an Apple note. And I remember I must have been sitting on the train because I was commuting into London, and I wrote down some goals. And one of them was to have my own business and be in command of my own time. Well, I mean,
that's on this.
So, I'm not sure we'll hit that. Great, but I think after about 6 months, I started to think, do you know what? You know, I'm doing something right here. I got to a point where I was getting like top of the board. I just had this overwhelming sort of work ethic where previous company I worked at I'd go in on a Saturday morning. I wasn't being paid for it, but I was so excited to go in and work on the marketing email shot, and I'd be doing it, and my boss would go, "What are you doing?" I think he thought I was a bit not wired right. And I think in the end I just thought, you know what, I'm obsessed with this, but no one wants to have none of my bosses had the same passion. And in the end I just got frustrated, and I thought, I want to just do this. I don't know that there was a clear, I want to be a multi-millionaire, I think it was I just described it as everyone else, their fun was to play PlayStation or go and play football. And I just became obsessed with this idea of building like a business. I thought it was amazing.
And Taylor, so from having that mindset to do that, tell us, it's entrepreneur conversations. What did you then do? Because I kind of know the answers because you've told me already, but what did you do to make yourself fit to be able to run the business of the size you've done? Because you've done lots and lots of self-development, haven't you?
Massively. I don't think we would be where we are today. Honestly, tens of thousands a year plough into, a lot of our profits over the years have been immediately reinvested. I've had coaches, mentors, we've invested into training programs and so it started off, I was just being mentored and coached, and I'd go to seminars and do personal development, books, a stupid amount of books, but paying good money for people 20 steps ahead of me to teach me the basics. But then it's got to a point where we could afford it, where the management team, we would then be investing in them. We'd go, right, we're going to find you a sales director who's been doing it for 20 years and he's going to teach you everything, So we would be investing in 3 or 4 mentors / coaches, pros in their area to teach those skills. I think it's it's crazy to me.
Because I said to you, how do you know that your two brothers that work in the business, they're not shareholders, they work for you in the business, how are they going to be the fittest ops manager? And you answered it very well, because you said, well, no, I put them on training schemes and I've put them together with mentors and others that have been before them to bring them up to speed.
Yeah, and we do it over. And so it's not, I think the other thing I've met with people, they go, oh yeah, I had a coach. Right, you had one. Well, that's when you were $1 million turnover. We're now we're completely different business now. So I think it needs, for us, it's a constant line item in our budget and our P&L. It's training and consultancy. It's in there every month, and it's growing every year. If we're not growing that pot to reinvest in personal development for not just me, but as the team go, then something's wrong, because we ain't going to get to the next level.
Because I think the consultancy, sometimes I've brought consultants in on the wedding venue. We brought some people in there to help us in the early stages. We learned a little bit, but what we learned was that what we were doing was okay, and that actually was worth the money to have the qualification. They weren't. They just really were there. In the end, we thought we might learn some massive things that we were missing, and really what we learned was what we were doing was kind of okay, and was true and line. Well, I was all right with spending the money on that to make sure that it was right. It was just underwriting those staff, being cuddled by me, putting them on the course, having the person come round. But I'm with you, and I think that unless you're reinvesting your money back into your team, then you're missing a trick, because that's where the whole thing works, from the culture of how they're trained to do the job. 100%. Because you're not doing it. No, you're not there, are you?
Can't.
You can't do that. You're off doing expansion and
I think it's when people get entrapped in having to go, oh, you want a job, do it. That's the saying. You want a job, do it yourself. And that's, to me, just, you've not put people around you, or you've not invested in getting them up to speed with SOPs, with training, whatever. So you can't go and work on the acquisition or the next innovation or the next project or whatever and grow the thing, because you just pull back in answering the same questions and advising.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to take a moment to let you know about Baddow Park Mastermind. I have created a mastermind for high-level entrepreneurs. There's only 16 spaces and we've only got a few left. If you often find you're the biggest fish in the pond at other masterminds, click the link in the pod description, because this might be just for you. Now, back to the pod. Your day-to-day, Taylor, I mean, you're living offshore as well a bit now. What is your day-to-day? What does it look like?
So I spend probably about 7 hours of my week where I will be in one-to-one meetings with direct people that work directly with myself. Right. So I still very much hold on to the product and marketing side. So we don't have a marketing director or anything like that. It's one area that I've really held on to, because it's kind of been my baby. It's the growth machine. You know, we don't have reps on the road. The marketing is the engine. So I've really closely held on to that. So I spend time with the direct people that work, you know, our head of pay-per-click, head of SEO. They report directly into me. I spend, a good hour or so a week with Mitch, who's, will now become our commercial director. Cody, we'll have an hour a week, ops director. And then Trev, who's my dad, finance director. And that's kind of, we'll be having those one-to-ones, and it will just literally be a fairly similar agenda of, what's going on last week? Where's the big red, where's the red flag? We do this thing, green and red flags. What's the green stuff? What's going well, what's not? What can I do? What do you need from me? A big thing we're working on at the moment in that is we've developed this thing where we're very good at managing up when we really need to manage across. And what I mean by that is you have all these different silos and teams. So you'll have ops, production, and it seems to be, it all funnels up to ops director, commercial director, and then that funnels up to me. But actually, it doesn't need me. It needs commercial to speak to ops, and they need to have a meeting, and it could be resolved rather than waiting for that line management. We just got to build that connection. So the majority of my week is taken up with, I'm having those one-to-ones and I'm pushing things forward, and then the rest of my week, so probably say 80% of my week, is on the future. So I'm ideating, I'm having meetings with, new software partners, things that we want to look at doing. This whole Dubai, the Middle East thing, I'm really seriously spending a large percentage of my week working on that, going to the factories, understanding, going to the networking events, understanding the market. We're looking at constantly ways we can improve the website, the digital presence. I'm in touch with the product team, understanding how can we, launch into this new product type. We're not doing enough on workwear and clothing. How can we grow that? What are we doing with it? And then I'm growing the percentage, I will say, actually, on my involvement in recruitment, because I'm realising, especially after we brought some people, like I said to you earlier, some really great people in, I'm realising that the difference between getting to the ultimate goal where we want to get to and not is actually going to be who's sitting on our bench. Yeah. And I'm realising now that actually we need to start putting more effort into scouting. I think I was always led to believe, put an Indeed ad up, sit back and wait for the applications, but the gold isn't there.
Because what you're going to do on acquisition as well is you're going to buy customer bases as well, aren't you? Because if you've got a company been knocking about for 35 years doing workwear into, I don't know, a big organisation, you will gain.
It's crazy, actually. Yeah, there was a guy that I heard, I don't know him personally, but I heard that he had basically a contract and he had a little office doing this promo. He was a farmer, so he was a print farmer, and he'd done it all from his garage, and he had, I think it was a big car brand, I can't remember what it was, but every year this order came in and it was something like $500,000 a year on mugs, and it came in every year like clockwork. They never went elsewhere for a price, and it'd go and he basically was done for the year. He'd have other stuff, but I mean, no overhead, sitting in his. But when I've actually started having some of these acquisition conversations, there's people that have had so-and-so cruise line for 20 years. They spend 80 grand a year with them, and they're like, they just top up the pens every year. They top up the pads. Do you go in there and sort of if they do, oh no, June left, and now I just deal with. They just send me a PO. There's some girl in the office. No, and you just think, imagine bolting that on.
And with innovation
and with then, like I said, building up these other,
I mean, I think that is, it's a very different conversation this week with you because of the scale of what you're doing. And we've probably known each other, say, for the last 3 or 4 years. And every time I've met you, you've talked about, where the progression is and what you're doing. And that seriousness to be able to see what the future can look like for the business and the opportunity that's there. Why are you so weird that you want to do it? Because the money obviously isn't about it. It's not all about the money. Because if you look at what you just said, you said the future could be a sale in 20 years' time. Well, I think you're going to probably shorten that by a good few years. Then you end up with this great big pot of money. Well, then what do you do?
No, 100%. Yeah, no, it's not about as such the sale. I think it's about what we can then do. So for me, I'm just really, I love business. I just get a kick out of it. I just, my missus thinks I am quite strange, I think, but I am genuinely,
so does mine,
but it's my fun. And I just think I would love nothing more than to build something amazing, exit that business, bring hopefully some amazing people with us, and then actually go out there and do the same again, helping the 18-year-old Taylor shorten his because even now the mistakes, the stupid things, and I just wish that there'd been mentors and coaches have helped us, but like you said, sometimes they don't really get it. You've got to work hard to find the right someone who's really credible, that's been there, done it, and I'm so excited to build that and then go, right, okay, look at all what we've achieved, all the lessons, now what can we do? That's the thrill of it, is actually in, can we start again? Because even the Middle East thing at the moment, I'm getting that like fuzz of like, it's scrappy again. It's like, can we afford that £10 a month? Like, because we're not bleeding the UK if we're doing this. We want, this needs to be startup. This needs to have its own. Like I said, there's so many instances where people bleed the UK dry of their, the main business to fund this ego project because they can't tell their friends that they failed and have to come home. And we don't want to do that. And I think, imagine if we genuinely can do this, and then all the skills, the great network we would have built to be able to go out there, either a joint venture or help someone who's starting out when we've got the capital to not have to deal with banks and and to do it and to go again and see if you could do it quicker.
And you mentioned to deal with banks. Do you deal with banks much?
Only recently. I'm losing my hair to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is. I think the banking system is, very frustrating.
So you don't really borrow that much money, do you?
No, we're just doing a refi at the moment. We've done over the years a tier one bank have not been interested. I mean, we banked with Lloyds, and we were with Lloyds. Well, we still are with Lloyds. We've been with Lloyds since inception. Never been overdrawn. Never used a credit card. We had a bounce back loan of 50 grand or whatever. Paid that every month as we should. Never got outreach from an account. I mean, we were at 8.5 million ex VAT. So you add up what's going through the account and how that's not flagged up. Because I'm now told that there's like a 2 million bracket, a 5 million bracket where you should have a relationship manager. And to call up and try and speak to someone was just so difficult. Anyway, long story short, I got introduced to someone from Barclays, incredible bloke, and he basically just took me under his wing a little bit. And he said, look, there's no pressure. If you want to work with Barclays in the future, it's fine. But if not, I'm just here as a sounding board. I like what you're doing. I want to help. So I developed a relationship with him, and he's been an incredible guy. He's given me a lot of advice. And we're just now doing a refi with Barclays, funnily enough, as a result of that.
And what's the finance for?
So the finance is because we've never, no tier one would touch us.
Yeah.
I was forced to go out, and when we needed asset finance for equipment, for cash for stock, for growing the business, we would need to go to a funding circle or the aggressive lenders where you're paying 18% interest. And we were doing that, and we 100 grand here, 50 grand there, and then the asset finance with close brothers and people like that. But you look at what you're paying, it's criminal. And someone like Barclays have come along and said, actually, with where you're at, we'd like to get on board. We'll just take all of that debt, we'll clean it all up, and we'll package this. It's like halved our monthly. So I think we were servicing about 25 grand, including interest and repayments, everything, about 25 grand a month. When this refi goes through, it would be down to like 9 grand. Just from one stroke of a pen. Nothing's changed.
But that's huge, isn't it?
Oh,
I mean, for the business, month on month.
Unbelievable. But to me,
huge.
think how many great senior people we can bring in with that, like straight back into salaries or kit. It's just.
I think that is. I think the entrepreneur doesn't have a lot of choice in the early stages. No. He has to go through a punitive system of borrowing. Otherwise, they will never get anywhere. No. They just need the money from anywhere.
That was always my approach. A lot of people said to me, Tay, you're not really going to sign into 18%. We've got to just prove the model, prove we can weather. Because my approach was always, if we can weather that, and still grow, and we're servicing that, you go to when they do come sniffing around, and they did, it will be it's a no-brainer to lend this bloke the money
because you're paying that already.
Service that aggressive loans. It's a no-brainer
without a flinch as well.
And carried on every year growing. I think it's big, but it is. You just got to try and get over it. It is hard.
A question, Taylor, we like to ask is, what has been like your worst day in the chair? What's that been like? And what was that? That's what that felt like. That sort of cup of sick in the mouth moment.
I'd say the day that brought me to tears, me and my dad actually, was we've had 2 real near-miss cyber incidents, and where we really did come close to losing everything. The first one, we got a really big job. It was in COVID, actually. We got a really big job for Screwfix, and it was only about 3 of us in the business at this point, and it was huge for us because the tap turned off on expos and promo, and so we got an opportunity to do this big distribution job. It was like 90,000 metal water bottles branded up for Screwfix, and they wanted the kicker was they wanted them all branded up, but they needed them individually picked and packed and distributed to all of the members of staff in all of their 800 locations to say thank you for pushing through in COVID and blah, blah, blah. And we didn't have any fulfillment partners that would touch it. So I said, right, well, we'll get them printed, because we weren't doing anything in-house at this point. We'll get them printed, get them delivered here, we'll break them down, and we'll do it. It's fine. They're going to tell you it's like 90,000 odd bottles. Are you sure? And we had an office at the time, probably not even as big as this room. And these things, like these pallets started turning up. And I've got photos we look back on now, and we'd pushed the desks to the side, and we've got boxes and we've got tape guns, and we'd never done anything, and we're doing it all manually. We'd like clipboard, right, Blackpool needs 50 bottles, and it was chaos. Anyway, I've digressed, but so this was huge for us, and they said to us, we're only going to do 50% up front, 50% on delivery. So we said, no problem. So we paid the 50%, we'd done the job, the 50% was due the week after, and we'd been all stressed with everything that gone. We're like, right, it's done. The morning that they were due to pay this other 50%, someone rang up the office from Screwfix and said, we just want to verify, because it's hit our minimum threshold to verify this. You've changed your bank details since we paid the deposit. Why have you done that? Because now we've got to delay the payment. And we're looking at each other going, what the fuck? We haven't changed our bank details. He said, well, I'm looking at it on the invoice. And we went, just don't do anything. Goes on there, someone had got into our Xero account, gone into the settings, changed the payee details at the bottom, and the invoices that had been going out, this one being one of them, I mean, clever. So you would innocently pay, and you'd send them the money. It's on their invoice to come through, and it would go off to Timbuktu. So we were serious. By some miracle, there was one payment that had been made, and Lloyd's, in fairness, reversed it, and we resolved it. But it was, I mean, it's stupid looking back. And again, this comes back to you don't know what you don't know. But at the time, for ease, I'd never heard of a password manager system like 1Password or anything like that. We kept all of our logins, not for banks and stuff, but for supplier portals and stuff, in a spreadsheet, a shared spreadsheet. So me and Dad at the time could jump into stuff. They'd managed somehow to get into his Outlook, went in his OneDrive, in his phone, found this spreadsheet, and it was like the golden goose, and we were in. Anyways, that was that. So that was rough. But then about 2 years later, it was rougher. And that was the worst, I'd say, because they were in our bank. So they called up and they'd impersonated to be the bank manager. And my dad at the time, and they were in the account. I actually kept thinking about it. Because, And
they nearly took all the money out?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And I remember driving there, to the bank, because they said, you need to come in, and they said, we can't tell you if it's all gone. Oh. And we can imagine. And we're driving there, and he's sitting next to me. I'm sorry. Because obviously he feels guilty. Yeah. And I mean, that was my worst day.
Yeah. Wow, that is powerful. I mean, that is and what happened? What happened when you got there?
Well, they'd got in, but I mean, felt like I slated Lloyd's earlier, but I'll give them their due. And that's one of the reasons why we stuck with them, is their cyber is dialed in fairness.
Is it?
They'd gone to transfer the payments. So they'd started transferring these payments out, pinging these payments off, but they were doing $1,000, $5,000, pinging them off to different accounts. And they'd obviously got greedy after a point, and they tried to do a large amount, like over 10 or so. I can't remember the exact figure, but for whatever reason, it had flagged their alert, and it had done like this, blocked. I'm not going to let you transfer anymore until you get this OTP or whatever. But it got to a point. But then what had happened is the cyber thing, the fraud team had shut the account. So we couldn't get in. And even when you spoke to the people on the phone, they couldn't get in. Oh. And they said, you're going to need to come to the branch. So we went to the branch, and like I say, we felt, I was sick, felt sick. And
to see what was left or wasn't left?
Well, they basically said, you come in and we'll open it with you, because you can't do it remotely. God. So we're driving. There's about a 25-minute drive, and it was a drive I'll never forget. And we gets there, and this went on, and they were on the phone to people, and there was people coming in, and eventually they said, look, they have been in there, they have took stuff, but you know, it's covered. We can see what's gone on. It will be reversed. But yeah, that was the worst day.
So let's pause on that and we go on the opposite of that. So on that devastated, I think what's been like the best moments in your journey with all this? You know, what's been the highs of it?
So many. I think I'm not great at looking at the positives. I'm always like looking, we've still got so far to go. I'm always on to the next thing.
Taylor Tassie.
I think what's some of the highs? I think, you know, and it is cliche to say it, but I can understand why people say it when you get to a certain point. The team.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the people that we work with now.
I would agree with you.
I am so fired up for them.
Yeah.
Massively.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's people there that and also people, you know, I felt really proud the other day. We had a couple that met through the business, and they met through the business. She's no longer with the company, but they met at the company. They worked together. They developed a relationship. Really sweet pair of people, and they've just welcomed their first child last week. And I sat there the other day thinking, you know what? This is more than just about money.
Yeah.
We actually have created something that's creating some amazing friendships. We've got people that are progressing, you know, doing courses. We're investing in personal development, and they've changed as people as well.
Yeah.
And yes, it is cliche, and a lot of people go, the team, and I do agree with that. And I used to think, what a load of piffle when they say that, you know, when people sit on podcast. But genuinely, the last probably 6 months, and especially with me being out of the office more now, with being international, I think I've really seen some people stand up.
And do you feel, Taylor, a bit of guilt of that you're not there day to day so much?
I was seriously, and I think it's one of the reasons why we took so long to pull the trigger on it.
Right.
It took me about a year to actually it's been something probably I've been considering for about 2 years, and it took me about a year to actually say, guys, I know we've said we're looking at this, but I'm seriously talking about actually going over there.
And brothers, dad and mum, what did they think?
I think there was a mix. I think personally they were obviously gutted, and I think there was a little bit of, well, what does this mean for us? And, you know, what does this mean for where we're going? Is he going to take his eye off the ball? Is he going to live the high life? Is this just a play? And I think also, obviously, we're very, you know, we work together. All right, we're in different buildings a lot of the time or whatever, but I think there is that personal thing. But I think now that they've seen that I'm back very often, the business is thriving, probably it's doing better than it's ever done before, which might be saying something. And also they can see the opportunity. You know, they've been over there, I've shown them, I've explained, look at what's going on, look at the conversations, and I think they're excited for create, because that's the big thing as well. I think for me, I've always tried to, and still am trying to create something where there's no ceiling, because I think you get these great people, but the real great people, they want to keep growing. They want to earn more every year. They want to keep building. We've got to keep growing.
It should be built out of people that have a career with you. I think that the one thing that I try and do with it when we run our masterclasses at Baddow Park, I always say, Taylor, that you're trying to tell a story to those very, very key members of staff that there is a future.
Yeah,
they can, and this is where we're going. This is the story of the progression and the scalability of what we're going to do. And you too can come along for the ride.
I think it's
huge. Then all of a sudden, you've got someone that's not leaving you. Even if they're trying to be poached, they say, "Well, no, actually, we've got a thing going on here with the company that I work for. This is my career and this is my lifestyle." Yeah. And I think you I'll be right, because I've seen some of your socials. You do have a lifestyle with the team, don't you?
100%. We do a lot. Yeah, 100%. I mean,
and stuff.
I don't have many friends. I'm a bit weird like that, but I'd say some of my closest friends are within the team, within the business. And I just, I think that thing around what you're saying there, of building that career, it's been really interesting the last couple of years. I always thought that when you'd interview someone, it'd be, "Oh, well, I want to progress. I want to earn more money." The biggest reason when I get into the crux of it, when you interview people, why they want to move on, is because they feel like there's a ceiling and they can't progress. And Joan's been sat in the chair for 10 years as the manager, and she ain't going nowhere till retirement. I can't move up.
Yeah. And they see themselves becoming the Joan, don't they?
And the business is not going anywhere. The directors, it's a lifestyle business for the directors. He's on the golf course and it's not really exciting. Whereas I think one of the reasons we've won is we've had people join us for less money, but they've followed the YouTube. They understand the mission, the vision, where we're going, and they're like, "This is cool. I could join there. I could go abroad."
I think the personal brands and the videos that you make and stuff over the years, it allows people to come and try before they actually jump in and buy.
I think that's massive.
Buying product or buying a job or coming in to work for you. But I think it is the credibility of who is going to be my boss and what's the ethos of the company.
Not just what's plastered on the wall.
That's right. And I think that's very important. You said you don't have a big circle of friends and stuff. What do you do for downtime and leisure? What do you get up to?
I think I've really thrown myself into the gym.
Right.
So the fitness has been huge for me. I think my it vented a lot. I used to actually be, when we first started, I was very frustrated. So I was actually quite angry, and I'd be angry that we weren't moving faster, that we weren't, and that was, you mentioned earlier about family conflict and things. That's where any conflict came from, is that I was being very agitated that why have this not moved quicker? And finding fitness in the gym has been like my hobby, because I can feel that I'm improving, I'm building, because I like to see tangible results, so I can feel it, but also it's allowed me to channel some of that frustration and vent. So I think I spend a lot of time doing that. I'd say that's probably my only thing out of business that I really... The
repetitiveness of it is good, isn't it? It's good for the brain.
Yeah, 100%.
That getting up early, doing things. I've been doing obviously been doing the swimming thing that I'm really into over the last year, and the fitness thing. I'm obviously a lot older than you. Has been crucial to me being fit for purpose to still run these companies and these teams that I
do you notice it if you ever don't?
Well, I know it's the guilt. The guilt is crucifying. The guilt of I missed one swimming day, and I've got a good friend that reminds me that I didn't swim that day. He phones me up or leaves me a message. But and I was out in Germany, and I was swimming in minus water.
In London, you went to the Thames, didn't you?
When we were all together, we were in the, whatever that was. That was a bit groggy, though. It was full of duck poo, that was in there.
You got it done, though, didn't you? That's commitment.
That's it. Chudley ran there, and I went there and swam there. It was good. But it was, I think it is, and I go back, I'm going to put this whole podcast and label it to the serious entrepreneur that I really believe, and know that you are. These things compound. You are on your fitness. You are looking at numbers. You are talking about culture within the group. You have got a goal that's £100 million. And you're not in your own way. You're kind of out of your own way, because you're allowing, whether you call it futurizing, manifestation or whatever. Well, I don't care what you call it. Just do it. That you clear the decks and see yourself being that person and owning that company of that scale. And if you can really do it, it absolutely works.
I always say to people about it when they go to me, I just believe that you've got almost in your head fully delusionally believe that you are that thing. So I remember when we first started out, it was me in the bedroom, £12 IKEA desk, and people would ring up and go, "Oh, can you do a better price than that?" And I would literally go, "I've only just started. I'm going to have to go and speak to my manager." And then other times I'd go, I'll just pop down and speak to the production manager in the warehouse. And it would be me in the bedroom, and I'd put them on hold. And it was this psychological thing of me manifesting and fully believing that we would have a production manager.
And
we would have
to go down to the warehouse.
Go down to the warehouse. And I used to do it with it was just the family at the time, and I'd do a PowerPoint and go, "This is what the warehouse is going to look like, and we'll have a forklift." And they went, "A forklift?" And I just think, like you said there, that manifest. I just think you got to be delusional about it. There was
a book. This was 20 years plus. Donald Trump wrote. The Secrets of a Billionaire, or How to Be a Billionaire, or whatever like that. And he wasn't a billionaire when he wrote the book. And he just talked love or hate Donald Trump, he's a crazy guy. But his thing was, just fake it, rub up against it where it lives. Where are the billionaires? Go and hang out where they are, do stuff like they do, copy what they do, dress
100%.
like they do.
Yeah.
Go, and there's one thing that he said was I started doing first class flights everywhere, even though I couldn't afford it. And guess who I met was billionaires.
Does put you in
and
a different
that was his thing. And as much as we can all be criticised from Billy Liar or making up stories or saying things. I don't care. I don't care because I know that delusion, that delusion of grandeur, delusion of opportunity, whatever you want to call it, has got me to absolutely where I am today. And I wish it had got me there quicker, and I wish I'd understood it earlier to do more of it.
I wish I'd have thought bigger. I thought, I look back now, I think you were thinking about the forklift.
Yeah.
And you think, wonder how faster, and also, funny you mentioned Trump. I was watching a YouTube video because I have, like you say, love or hate him, you can't help but admire what on earth, thing. And I don't know if I downloaded it right, but it said that this video was posted like 10 and a bit years ago. And in this video, he was giving a speech and he was saying about, I might consider running for office, and you think you really underestimate as well what you can do. That whole thing about the 10-year thing. And I sat back now and I think, did I imagine when we first started that we'd be here within this 8-9 years? No, probably not. I probably thought it was going to take 20.
The thing that happens to you as well is that when you're in the weeds of it, Taylor, and you start having to grow up at high speed and get sort of like super efficient and like very smart at understanding. I used to stop meetings and say, guys, it would be buying a property or something. I said, you lost me. Can you just bring it back to sort of some base language to play catch up? And as soon as I learned that I could do that and I could keep up with the lawyer or the accountant or whatever, I then realised that I could do this journey. I just needed to learn more proprietary language to what I was doing quicker, and that's what I did. And I started just hanging around people that did planning. We were into planning and getting a planning permission for green fields and stuff like that. And I started going to their the councillors' meetings. I started just going to one every Tuesday and just hanging out. And they go, "Who's the bloke over there?" And just,
he loves a bit of planning.
Yeah, he loves a bit of planning. But I then knew judicial reviews and. All these
those
different
circles,
types of language.
It is a thing, definitely. It is huge. And I think as well, you can forget because it is a lot to, your finance, banking, your marketing. It's a lot. You've got to learn a little bit about SEO, a little bit, enough to know. You don't need to be a pro, but enough. And last week, it's laughable really, but I sat there and I could tell that our accountant thought, he's thinking, is this bloke real? And I said, just check in. So if we load up and we do buy a load of stock before our financial year, that's going to help the tax position, right? And he went, I think he thought I was winding him up, and I'd had a blonde, like a blonde moment. But I think that's but I didn't care. I just went, oh yeah, of course. And I think when you're comfortable enough to know that I ain't got to impress the people around the room, and it's okay to go, do you know what, sorry, I'm I forgot about that.
My line I do all the time, you're going to have to bear with me because I'm not that bright. Say that all again, and that's it. And they don't care. They can either take it as a slap or take it as that I'm not that bright. Say it again. But I think that the one thing I always say, Taylor, is that all of the professional services, be it a bank, a solicitor, insurance brokers, whatever, they are shops and we are shopping in them, and they are giving us services.
Easy to forget that.
And that's it. Otherwise you start being impressed by them or undermined by them, or the accountant says, well, I wouldn't be doing that, Sonny Jim. Well, those days are gone. You're running the company. It's like when we would do these deals with the solicitors, and all of a sudden the solicitors saying, I think you need to look at this deal a bit closer. And I say, you have no idea what I'm going to do with this piece of land. This isn't just for planning. We're adding it onto their marriage value with that. We're going to bring that across, do another driveway through here, or whatever we might do. He had no idea what was in my head as the entrepreneur with the big idea. And he wanted to give me advice because he thought that was his job to do it. That's why you're a solicitor and you're not an entrepreneur.
I think that is the key, though. It's being able to... I have also met people that they're so bullish and they're never wrong until they are. I thought a colleague,
That's dangerous.
Yeah, it is, and I think I am quite lucky, but I do think it can be developed. I'm very lucky that someone said to me when I was 17, first, he said, "You know what I like about you? You can go around and you'll ask all different people for a point of view, and they'll all be polar opposite, and then you'll take all of it up and you'll do a little weighing scale, and then you'll just make the call. But once you made the call, you made the call." And I do think that's something that even if you're not wired that way, you've got to train yourself to ask a few opinions, call up a few people and weigh it up, because you're not always right.
If you think you've got it down, you're dead.
Yeah.
Because you are.
And I've met a lot of people.
I go into these team meetings here on a Tuesday, and I just get not shot down, but I get my opinion changed. And they know I can have my opinion changed. And I think it's very good that I can.
Definitely.
Because I'll go in there with all sparklers thinking that this is a new idea that I want to lay on the team to do. And they'll go, yeah, but you're not considering this and you're not really looked at that. And we can't do it on a Wednesday because we haven't got enough time. And you think, oh, right, okay. Well, I'm just frustrated. And they say, yeah, we're all frustrated, but we want to do whatever the thing might be.
But that's so critical, I think, because I had the same thing last week, and I was so set on this thing. And I came in and I said, guys, I want to do this. I want to announce it next week at the company conference. I want this rolled out to the... And I could tell by the face. And then someone said, hey, it's going to end in disaster for X, Y, Z reason. And I kicked back, listen, I sat there, had a minute, and I thought, no. It's wrong.
But I think it goes back to what you said earlier of what, when you were talking about when you were younger, that frustration and anger of getting stuff done.
Yeah.
I think
impatient.
Anybody that is near a serious entrepreneur knows they are in a hurry. They walk quicker than everybody else. They haven't got time for the small shit.
Yeah.
You know, just give me the synopsis version of what it is that you're trying to say. You know, I'm not great at reading anyway, but Christina does all my stuff. I'd say, Christina, take that 28 pages, give me one page that you read to me with all the key points on it. Because that's all I really need to know. I don't need to know about the footpath thing and the new law that's changed. Whatever. I just need to know, can we do this? No, yes, whatever it is. And then from that information, I can make an informed decision.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then, Taylor, once we've made the decision, mate, we can make it right or wrong.
Yeah.
Because we've made the bloody decision. Sometimes we have to make it right. And that's moving forward with going...
Just got to keep moving.
It's like wipe of the mouth and then off you go, don't you? And you've got to see who's looking at you on the way out.
Yeah, 100%.
But you've got to do it, haven't you?
It is. But I think your team get to know that, don't they? I think I'm very fortunate.
Do you enjoy every day? Are you still enjoying it?
I've been through phases where I haven't.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, I've been through some real patches where I questioned, you know, and I'd say it's actually been my family that have kept me straight on that.
Is that, Taylor, because you felt out of your depth, out of reality? What's brought you down?
I think I've found frustration with. Yeah, I think sometimes I've questioned whether I'm the right person to sit in that role, and whether we should have brought someone in as it's scaled. You know, because you got to remember, I just think not enough people appreciate. I mean, you obviously do, but I speak to a lot of people, and I just feel like my role has changed so much, so quickly.
From the early phases.
Yeah, and I think it was only a few years ago that, you know, there was like 12 of us. You know, we'll be close to 70 this year. And I remember I would still speak to customers. I'd still go and, you know, meet people. I'd be involved. And what the business has needed of me, and because I've known that, I've had to push myself really out of my comfort zone at times, because I do quite like it all quite nice, and I like it done a certain way, and I like, you know, to get a bad review, or to find out we're not in stock of a product, or, you know, to hear that something went out late. And I've had to change my approach, because it would be like bull in a china shop. And we would, you know, being honest, we have lost people over that, the 2-3 year old years ago Taylor. And I've had to really step back and take some honest feedback from the team and go, you know, you ain't going to build the monster you want to build if you're coming in going this, that and the other, and you've got no understanding of, you've got to get out of the way.
The short story.
I just see the review, and there's no, and I was very good at jumping that. And I think, so I've gone through phases where I've questioned whether I'm the right person. I feel like I'm coming out the other side of that now. And I am. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be one of our most exciting years. We're investing so much, launching this new site. We're growing new departments, teams. We're doing a new website overhaul, launching it. There's so much, and the funds come back. But I'd say the 3 million to probably 8-9 million. I think
you're bang on.
I don't know if I could do that again.
I think
really
you're bang
don't.
on. I think that progression at that point, anything over 2 to 5
It's hell.
is hell.
Yeah.
You can't afford to put people in place.
No.
You have to be in every bloody department and poking to do it.
I felt like it was literally dragging it.
Yeah, dragging it.
And it was killing me. It had to get up every morning. Like you feel like you've seriously been hit by a bus. I'd wake up and I just felt sick to the stomach most days, because we were dealing with stuff. We were having profit problems, we were having operational, there was people falling out, there was cultural issues, we had bad apples, and I just felt consumed. We didn't have enough money to hire great people in, but we needed these managers, otherwise I couldn't get out. And I felt like we've just pulled it like that.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
And I think people underestimate that. I don't think I appreciate it.
I think we brought it right round to that subject again. That's where Baddow Park Mastermind has really helped the partners that we've got in there. I think there's 11 of us in there at the moment.
You've got to be part of something.
And it is. You need somewhere to go in there, Taylor, to be able to be with like-minded people that are on the journey and are feeling the same pain and have got some skill set that they can add on to it, and to help you go through that, because that is the most painful bit. And it's when you can, and after 5, like you're experiencing now, you can afford to step away from it and helicopter view back in it. On the way in here, they're asking for a fire escape ladder to be cleaned by us. It's not us.
Yeah.
They are the only people that use the fire escape. It's their thing. I said, send the girl's telephone number on it. They've sent the telephone number. I went, what am I doing? This has nothing to do with me. I'll have an estate manager.
You do find it,
just so happens not in today.
Yeah.
So just give it to him tomorrow.
Yeah.
But my frustration is, I just phone her up and tell her. But no, I shouldn't do that, because I'm undermining him.
That's been a big thing for me.
And that's what you've got to stop doing, is let people do their job.
Well, because you go, we're going to put the management in place. Yeah. You put all this management, and then you find you're circumventing, and you just put their backs up. But it's because you're wired, aren't you? Yeah. It's wired to I just want to deal with the problem.
Yeah, I know. It's very frustrating,
hard.
Isn't it?
It is.
But
tough.
it's because we're not coming from we're coming sometimes from a place of passion and getting done, as opposed to a place of orchestrated sort of institution. That's not what
They're
we do.
They're two different
well.
people, aren't they? These MDs and these big corporates.
Yeah.
It's a completely different. I mean, a best example. My assistant, who's with me at the moment, she came on board and she had an incredible CV. PA to the CEO, 500-person firm. Multiple territories. And I remember thinking, God, I'm going to be like a baby for her. I wonder if she's going to be bored. And she said to me the other day, she said, I can't do this anymore. And I said, and you think, finally, everything's... Yeah. And she said, I think you're great. I think everything is amazing. But I can't keep up. I can't, I'm honestly... And I said, but I'm a baby compared to, what you've had to deal with before. And she said, I've never worked with anyone with the intensity that you move at and how you're doing all these different things. And I think the difference is, when I've reflected on it, she's not worked for she's worked for
institutionalized people, aren't they? And work
I think they're different,
like this,
very
columns.
methodical. There's not this like bull in the china shop. There's not all this, we can flip on a whim. It's all very planned out. It takes 8 months to get something done.
Tell the story. Is she still there?
No, we've got a fantastic relationship, and I'm going to be gutted to lose her, because she's transformed.
And is she going?
She is leaving, yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, we had an honest conversation. She said, it's not for me to say that, this is who you are. You work very fast. You've got a lot going on. She said, and I feel like I'm going to be doing a disservice to you because I can't keep up. I can't.
So
it's
what
too much.
What are you going to do?
Well, we're working for, at the moment, she's working with me to find a replacement. We're going through that interview process. But it's great because she's actually on the ad. She wrote a message, like a note from my current EA. So she's telling them up front, don't waste your time unless you're up for a challenge. You want to move fast. You're happy that things can pivot, priorities can change on a whim, and then a fire can pop up and everything's changing.
I think you are. It's a good point, because someone who we're working with that's on the mastermind, Josh, he's just landed a new PA.
Oh, yeah.
Or the last 3 months, 4 months, Ollie, isn't he?
Yeah.
4 months. And she was the PA for Canada Goose. In the UK, for the managing director, and he said the same. I'll be just like a walk in the park. And anyway, I went to Edinburgh and met her. And I went, hi. She went, hi. Hi. But she was, I was there for a couple of days, and she was looking after all my stuff as well for me, all my travel and stuff. But she was just saying, it is
It's a lot.
full on. What do I do with Christina? See, it's very difficult with Christina. Christina's 14 years with me. Worked for a mega company, massive company before, blah, 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 blah. Usual story. Wanted to be back in Chelmsford area, not doing the travelling. Came up. She's now a proper EA, more like a director of two of the companies. And I'm saying, have you booked that flight? And she said, flight? Do you know what I'm doing? HR, I've got the broom in the other hand, and I'm doing this, doing that. So it becomes a different thing, doesn't it?
It does, That's exactly, funny you say that.
But it's like that, isn't it?
It morphs into other roles.
Yeah, it does.
And that's the other thing, is I was like, how can we write a clear job description?
Yeah.
Because I haven't got a clear job description. No. Because some days it is, things change, things crop up.
I think the qualities, and we talk about it on the podcast now for people listening and watching, is I think it's the smartest move ever is to get an assistant earlier.
Oh yeah,
even before you can afford them.
I wish I'd done it a lot earlier.
And then I've been very lucky. I've from say 21, I've had a PA because of the dyslexia, but I've had that, and it allows the freedom of thinking that you haven't got to think about those other things. It gives you brain space, but it also allows you to have a confidant, and you spend more time with them than you would with your partner.
It's like a counsellor. Yeah.
And I'll write a letter, a scathing letter,
and they go, you don't mean it.
No, and I'll say, so have we heard back from them? And they go, Christina go, well, I didn't actually send it. Should we have a look at it again? And this is 12 hours later, and I go, I can't. I would have never have said that. No, you did say that. So, and then we'll rewrite the letter, or just not send the letter. And they're good for that sort of housekeeping of who you are on the day you turn up in the office can be very different characters sometimes, because your head is full of something.
And it really does complement your weaknesses as well. I am terrible at attention to detail. I've signed contracts before and got us in all sorts of things because I hadn't read the term. She's been great at having that person that goes, you do realise they're like asking for like a debenture, and you're like, I didn't even read that bit. I just saw that we had the money and we needed the money and we wanted to. So it is really, I think you need those people, but it, again, comes back to investing in personal development, mastermind, those things to get self-aware enough of where your weaknesses are, because sometimes people are blind to it. It's only when you go to a safe space that people call it out,
or they don't want to admit to it.
Yeah, true. There is an ego,
and there is an ego to that sometimes with people that I've met. I think the worst thing that I've seen, just shoot the crap with you for a minute, is when I've worked with people and they've got bloody staff. And when you hear them say that, I go, "Whoa, that's really a flag there." Yeah. Is that how you see your people that work for you? What a pain! If we can only get machines to do all the work, I think you're not playing this game right. You're not. This isn't going to work.
No, this is it's dead before it's even begun.
It kind of is.
Yeah, I feel like that. I
Don't
do
you
feel
think?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
I do.
I really, if I look at the people that I've met, and I put it, and this sounds bad to say, but if you when you meet someone and you get chatting to them, you can normally within 5 minutes, I start to. This is maybe my weird thing. I start to already know where the business is either going, or the size, or the scale, and that sounds horrible to say, but I just think you can meet someone, you think you are an absolute arsehole.
Yeah.
And you just think it's okay, you might be onto a good thing now, but that's going to come crash and burn, because without great people,
there's overconfidence. Or this whole thing of at the dinner, and I have to be careful what I say, but like you say, from 100 yards, you can spot someone and say, "Oh, that's a bit too flamboyant for me."
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Sometimes I've been frustrated that maybe I've not always been confident enough. And I've, you know, a lot of people, you know, my bank manager now says to me, don't forget, his thing to me always is, don't forget what you bring to the table when you sit around. Because I always take the approach, I prefer to sit around the big table with all the big wigs, and I'd rather them think I'm the underdog. So I'd rather be but he does say to me, you know, don't forget what you bring to the table. And I think sometimes you meet some people and by God, they're like standing there with a table on their head. Like God, do you know it? But I just think it's not my strategy, but in my experience, those people I've not, when you play long game, I haven't seen great
I think the biggest thing that I've learned over the years is to find out what I can do in the room for others first. And I mean, you know, for the last 40 years I've been doing that strategy, but it is just the reciprocation back out, you know, finding out how you can help someone, and it will come back. You do a couple of good deeds, game. And you'll get two good deeds back for each one that you do, and you do bad deeds, you get two bad for that.
And I think people are always watching and listening. I think even when you don't realise it, it's so funny how the dots years later connect.
Yeah, they do, and I think the other thing is what those team members do when they're not being watched, and even what I do when I'm not being watched. You know, I've been in and out of hotels the last month. I do turn the lights off.
Yeah.
I own a hotel.
You do
I know
appreciate,
people just go out and leave everything on, the air conditioning, everything on, just burning it away. And I find myself, you know, I've always kind of done that mentality. I do pick up litter. You know, I get home, I put a jacket on about a month later. It's full of crisp bags and crap.
Yeah.
I think, why is it? Oh yeah, I remember I was walking up the estate picking up litter, and I just left it in my coat.
It does make you a different person.
Yeah,
it really does. I've recently, you know, we'll be out for, me and Charlotte go out for dinner, and we really have become very empathetic of small businesses.
Yeah,
we have. We look at it and we'll go, oh, you know, I bet they're having to carry
because you're doing the maths in your head, aren't you?
And we're sitting there and we're discussing it. And
you're looking at that restaurant, you're thinking, this is rates, this is rent.
How are they making it? We're the only people in it.
How are they doing this great big menu? And I just hope someone turns up on a Tuesday for a party. I mean, it's just a bad model, isn't it?
Yeah, you know? And it is. And I tell you, the biggest thing is we've started going, God, they need a bit of a culture infusion here. Like, because some places you go and you want to genuinely want to go and find the owner and say, look, I don't want to, but if this was meant, you need to know.
The meet and greet shit.
Yeah.
They just looked over and just looked back, you know.
Yeah. And then also on the flip side, I find that we don't, you know, like you find these people, they're always complaining, you know, they complain if the floor's blue, you know, whatever. And I think we have become those people that are really empathetic to, let's not moan. You know, if there is feedback, drop them an email and say, look, coming from the best place, it'd be really good if you. I just think it's so, people have got it really tough. You know, you're running a business, especially small businesses, shops, retail, hospitality, and I think they just we've definitely. I've noticed it's changed me. Put it that way.
They're not necessarily entrepreneurs. They're small business owners that have had freedom of doing what they want to do when they want to do it. And you and I know, and the viewers and listeners of the pod know that isn't the case. Because if you are a true entrepreneur, your time isn't yours anymore. No. You've invested it into your ism and your weirdism of you're frightened of failure. You're committed to what you've said because you've told people you're going to build this company. It's like a contract.
I've stood up there in the all hands.
Well, we have done it today because it's 100 million. You said. Yeah. Look at his face. Wait till this comes out and your dad sees it. You go, why did you say that?
I can't believe.
Your dad's going to be pissed off because you should have said 10 years and not 20. Because he goes, I'll be dead.
He ain't going to be happy. No, you've got that out of me today.
What is, do you worry?
Yeah, a lot.
Do you?
Yeah, a lot. I think it comes from that. I think, the business is maturing, and I do have those moments where I think, God, if this all fell today, what would I do? And some people say, well, come on, we're in a good place, why are you? But I think it keeps me on my toes, but also it's my identity. It's what I get up for every day. Even on a Saturday, it'll be, Obviously we're in Dubai at the moment, so it'd be right, come Tay, should we go to the beach for a couple of hours? We're on the beach, and I'm sitting there with my little moleskin notebook, and I'm strategizing, and I'm coming up with ideas, and you can tell she's thinking, what is wrong with this guy? Does he not want to have a break? And it's become a little thing, and she go, I just think I'm so on it, like. But I have been complimented on that with some people that have come in, like one of the guys that came in from the business that had fallen. He joined, and within his first week, he came to our annual conference where we bring the whole business together and we lay it all out. And I said to him, you've got a lot of experience, far more than me. I appreciate any feedback. And he said, honestly, and being here for a few weeks, I'm amazed at how you're not sort of taking over everything, but you're so dialed in. What's going on there, how many parcels went out yesterday, whether it's from the dashboard. And he said, I've never been anywhere where they're so dialed in. And I think that comes from an owner's point of view. From my point, from an owner's point of view. Like, I know, especially, and even now when I'm not in the factory, I'm not in the sales office, I know, and I'm making my business to know, and I'm spotting, asking me a problem. You need to fill that seat. We need to do that. We need to deal with that as quickly as possible. And I think that comes from, an anxiety of this could all fall tomorrow.
But action kills worry.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And you're taking action all the time. What about, because they're very different animals, what about stress? Or is that the stress that you were talking about? Or are they the same thing for you?
I think, so we've never had, like I say, we've never been, sometimes I feel like I can't really sort of say this with experience because we've never been overdrawn or never looked at the wages and gone, we can't pay people, apart from when we nearly lost everything. But what does stress me out is when I sit in the management accounts review and I see we're wobbling here. What's going on with the margin? I didn't see that coming. And that gives me anxiety because I'm then thinking, I've missed something. I'm not on the ball. I'm not dialed in enough. So then my aggression sort of turns up and I think, right, I've took my off the ball. And I might not have done, it might have been we took a decision to take a big project on, for the greater good of getting in with a brand or whatever like that. But I think that, I think financial stress is big for me, and having difficult conversations is my biggest stressor.
On your turnover, what is your margin out of that after all X is out?
So we average at our annual gross is about 32%, and then the net is, it hangs around.
No wonder people are looking at your sector to buy it, mate. I mean, that's such a good money. We had a company on here turn over £22 million, retaining like 1.25%.
Wow.
It's like spinning plates, mate. If one thing goes wrong, it all goes out the window.
Yeah.
Those margins are very, very good margins.
It does. I think scale is obviously the name of the game. It is hard, and I think it's fluctuated over the years. We've gone as low as 7 and 8 at times.
But I mean, the scale and the systems and processes, Taylor, that's what will give you that margin.
Yeah.
And you do systems and processes that are robust and scale, well, then you're there. And it's, you said earlier to me, you said that you do the marketing. Would you not put reps on the floor?
Well, so our model is it's more of a, as it currently is, it's a lead generation site, right? Yeah. So, you type in branded mugs. Yeah. Idea is if marketing's doing its job right, we come up, you would then go, oh, right, mugs, 100, they're about £3 each, whatever it may be. You would then click form, request a free visual is basically how we do it. So you'd say, well, I don't want to design it all myself in case it don't look right or whatever. So that then goes through to what we call like a merchandise consultant. So they will effectively, the computer sends the price, it's all automated and everything, but they will hold your hand and go, and you might go, oh, we're a bit worried because we bought some a few years ago and it all faded, and we go, right, okay, should we send you a sample, and they'll liaise with the designers and do all the mock-ups, all the revisions. And the idea being is that we want them to have such a great experience that comes back to earlier, they come back the second time. Because there is an argument to say self-serve. No, they want to come back. But sometimes it's actually really interesting to me how many people search in mugs and they buy the mugs, that's it, done. And they don't even think that same website could do pens, polo shirts, bags, whatever it may be. We've had so many. I mean, we introduced it into the process, into the like telephone script a few years ago to go, what's it for? You know, what are you using it for? And is there anything else that you need to go alongside? And they would tell us that they're already buying. Yeah, so we did a catalogue. That's how we first started. Before we even had the website, we had a catalogue, and that was just going door to door with it. We turned the web on, and being honest, it just flew, and we really dialed the catalogues down. We're now just building out that team to really go heavy on direct mail. We're gonna almost match our PPC spend on direct mail.
I think the direct mail and the catalogue thing. When I go in my office, there's a catalogue there.
I'm the same.
We'll thumb through that, have a look. I mean, quite expensive thing to produce, I'm sure. But I mean, it is, you know, and that knocking on doors for the bigger contracts, you know, for the universities, colleges and municipalities and stuff like that.
And I think with how noisy the digital space is now, actually a catalogue does cut through because I get so few of them. When one does come on, it does actually land on my desk. And I do sit there flicking. I go, oh, this is nice. Yeah. And it's interesting.
And they do live long in an office, don't they?
Longer than people think.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, the merch stuff is such an interesting space. I tell the story about we have our septic tanks emptied.
Oh yeah.
Every year they send a plastic poo with their brand all over it, and we must have about 3 of them now. They're all over the place because no one throws them around. They just use them as toys, but they're all different poos now. They're not the same. So poor old Alex, our estate manager, has got these poos on his desk.
It becomes a thing though, doesn't it?
But it's got the name on it. It says "We clean drains are us," whatever the thing is. And you know those clunky things do make.
If you get it right and there's some thought into it, and it, like you say, it's powerful.
And Taylor, are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I think. Like I say, we've had times where we've gone through real tough moments.
Do you recommend it?
I think.
Oh dear, it's great! Come here, come to this world.
I think there's a lot of people
fried, and have everybody looking at you, going, "He's going to fail in a minute. He's going to fail in a minute."
Waiting for you to fall.
Waiting.
It is. Yeah. I think it keeps you on your toes.
It's hilarious, don't you think?
I think it's. I just think people. I don't think we're wired up right.
No, I think you're right.
Or
what do you
reckon,
Ollie? Are we wired up wrong? You sit there and listen to all this.
Yeah, maybe not.
No, there is something that's the cogs weren't quite.
What do you want us to do, Ollie? Where do you want us to go?
Well, shall we go on to Tombola time?
Shall we? Should we do Tombola time? I invite you to have a look over my shoulder at my newsletter. If you want to hear about the things that grab my attention each week that could bring you value, sign up in the episode description. Now, back to the pod. This is becoming famous now.
What's this?
Tombola time.
Oh, it's gold.
This is from Jeff.
Wow.
Jeff sold us this off of his website. Right, here we go. So I'm going to spin these. Every number relates to a question.
Right.
If you take one out, Taylor, and then just put it in there afterwards, yeah?
All right.
Right, what have you got?
All red.
And what number you got on there, Taylor?
I've got number 8.
Question 8.
8.
Ollie?
What skills are most important for entrepreneurs today?
What skills is most important for entrepreneurs today? I think social skills. Your social skill as an entrepreneur. I think
you've got to be able to hold a conversation.
You're on sale, aren't you?
Yeah,
I mean, 24/7.
Especially when you're starting out.
You're selling.
You. Yeah.
Your social ability to go in that room, tell people what you sell, what you do, who you are. I think, you know, if you're a shrinking violet, probably do
I'm
a
not going to
factory
trust
job.
you.
Yeah. I think that is when I watch you operate at the big conferences where we go with James Sinclair. Your front of house, your team are good at that as well. They're all over it, aren't they? But it is, as an entrepreneur, you need to befriend everybody. The bank, the window cleaner,
and with lots of different personalities as well. That's the big thing. I think you've got to be, even if you're looking across from him thinking you are an absolute arsehole. Yeah. Hello, so good to see you. Yeah. And I think a lot of people go, oh, that's false, Taylor. But when you're starting out, you need people.
Yeah, you need people.
If you make an agreement with yourself, I need this guy. I need the bank manager to give me that money, even if he makes you feel like that. Yeah. Play the game. So there's a lot of people I know that won't. And they go, no, that's wrong. That's my truth. I'd rather play the long game.
I don't. The whole well, I've got these standards and morals, I'm going to stick by them. I think
I think the thing
is whatever it takes, isn't it? Whatever it takes to make it happen.
I think that's the difference, isn't it?
Because you don't have any choice, Ollie, really. Right at the beginning, this is early doors, but it carries on. I'm still selling weddings when I'm out. Oh, we're bad apart. Are you married? We're trying to sell. Do you want some mugs? You just do.
Yeah,
you can't
100%.
help it, can you?
Yeah.
Right, let's do another one. Here we go.
I love the jingle.
It's great. Made in Ollie's bedroom. Very good. Taylor, go for it.
There we go. What are we going to get? Oh, it's a green one. Number 5 we got.
Number 5. Can you tell me a time when resilience became especially important for you?
Wow.
Well, it would have been that day you were driving to the bank. That would have been resilience. Crikey, it was broke you. I think resilience or how brave you are, Ollie. I think resilience has been when I've signed to buy buildings and buy land and projects. When we're doing all the work in the background, and now you're in the solicitors, and if you'd like to sign for this lease,
this personal guarantee,
for
please.
this personal guarantee or whatever, your resilience or your bravery. You don't have to be brave every day, but you have to be brave at that point to say.
Have you ever questioned it? Have you ever questioned that? When you got to that point,
in the early days, I have.
Really?
I hadn't done enough research on what I was buying. We thought we could get planning permission on some big fields, and it was about 400 grand. Wow. And we had 400 grand, but we could have been doing other things with it, but we weren't. We were going to buy these fields, then we were going to allow 3 years to go past for one thing to subside on them. There was an overage on them. So that had to go, like a covenant to someone else who claimed that to clear. Then we were going to put planning in for it.
Wow.
And it was like, am I really doing this? Am I doing it? And I just, let's go stupid or brave, but the resilience to do it. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Or not?
I think so.
Kinda.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Yeah, I think. Sorry, Ollie. What the question?
Do the question. Frame it again.
So it's, can you tell me a time when resilience became especially important for you?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, for me, the one front of mind right now it would definitely be when we had to. The team didn't know, and we seriously did have to. We thought we'd lost it all, and they were still, carrying on about their day. And I remember standing there thinking, I'm going to go out in a minute and I might come back and we've lost every penny.
Yeah.
And I think that was definitely a point when I had to develop this huge amount of resilience. And then I think there's been other times when you just feel like you're being punched, because it does feel like sometimes it does all come at once. You are struggling a little bit. Sales are not where they should be. You've over-invested in getting the ops ready and everything ready and prepped because you thought that this was going to pay off and it didn't. And then you've got a HR problem and he's threatening to sue you and take you to, and it just feels like all-consuming sometimes, and you just want to scream, but no one's going to listen because it's your problem, mate. You chose to do it. And I think you have got to develop this. I feel like I've had to, and I'm not fully plated yet, but I'm like been building like armor plating. Like you get a dig and you think, right, I'm going to plate that, but then next week the dig comes the other side.
But I think that armor plating, Taylor, and I mean this sincerely, it is like scar tissue, because you can only get that resilience, and that's the word you used in the question. You can only get that resilience through having those things affect you and cut you and cut you and cut you.
Well, this comes back to the important, like I said earlier, about being part of a mastermind, having a coach or someone who's been there, done it, and has got that T-shirt. I was listening to this podcast the other week. I might get it wrong, but the sentiment's there. They done this study of German Shepherds, and they had 2 groups of German Shepherds. One of them, it sounds a bit brutal, but they basically shocked them. They like jabbed them with an electric shock, little prong, and they were doing that to condition them to these shockers. The other group didn't have any shocks, and then what they did is they had these like jumps, and the group of dogs that had been electric shocked went up to it, didn't touch it, and jumped straight over. because they knew. The group of these, they walked straight into it and went, oh, and kept doing it. And they didn't understand. And it taught me the thing of like, you get conditioned, but the other option is you could be around someone. So say, if me and you spent 2 hours in a room and you said to me, no. If you go over it, you're going to walk into that and it's going to electrocute the hell out of you. And it's going to take you a year to work out that you jump over it instead of you'll keep trying to walk through it. Like I would say, like these like plasterboard walls. Sometimes you'd walk up to a plasterboard wall and if you bang your head, it will hurt. But then you meet someone who can just come along, it feels like a sledgehammer, and tear the wall down in 1 minute, and you've broke through. But it would have took me a year maybe if I wasn't conditioned to work that out. And I think it is that scar tissue, but it is also that, well, that hurt, I'm not going to do that again.
I think what you said with the mentorship and stuff like that, I had one of our people on the phone, and they were buying a business, and the people turned around and said, it's a no, we're going with somebody else. And he sent me a message and he said, that business, they've said no. I said, right, great. So
let's go.
That's not the end of that. Get back on the phone to him. And so, but that isn't the case. And argue your case going back in to buy it. You'll look stronger. You'll be better for it. Go in there and go and buy the business. Just because they say no, no's the start of a conversation. No is not no in my vocabulary.
No is let's play.
And there's no such word as can't. So can't doesn't live in it. And I think it's that type of conditioning that you have to have the armor plating, the Teflon, the veneer to actually be that entrepreneur that actually becomes the truly successful person. And I think that not everybody can do that.
No, and that would be my message as well. Is I do think,
and I don't suggest everybody tries. No, because it's not for everybody.
And it isn't for everyone. And I do often say, I don't know if I'd started and I had kids, or maybe if I was at my age, I don't know whether I would have enough of it in the tank. And I think about the years it feels like it's shredded off of me, and that level of resilience that you've had to develop, but only through so many, tears,
I
anxiety. It's criminal.
As you're speaking, Taylor, I remember going to the post and looking at it on the floor at my house and feeling sick. Early stages, thinking like, I know what's in this stuff. I haven't even got the gumption to the balls to open it, because I know it's demands. It's where we haven't paid stuff, and it's all sitting there. And I'd take it in, give it to it wasn't Christine. There was another PA, Jo. This was a long time ago, and she would just look up at me, and I was like sick up to my throat in it. And the only way to cope with it was to just go and take one at a time. And she used to give me one at a time and phone them up. Hiya, things aren't great at the moment. And it was horrible. It was horrible. And we'd been let down. We were waiting for something to happen, and it hadn't happened. The piece of land was meant to be sold, and we'd already committed to buy something else. It was just, we'd overstretched in those early stages, because we weren't.
And you don't know what you don't know, do you?
No, that's it.
And that is it. And so I think it does come back to the question before, but I think a skill is going out there and putting yourself in rooms with people 10, 20, 30, 40 steps ahead of you that've got the scar tissue that can say,
shortcut you to that. This is like this is like the podcast of doom. Well, we'll do one more of these. One more.
I can't take anymore.
It's tombola time.
It sure is.
Oh, a very nice little tombola set.
Let's go.
Orange. This is number 2, Ollie.
Number 2. How do you handle conflict or difficult conversations?
Oh, okay. That's a good one for me.
Probably don't want to have any of that, but it's just part of the course, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the thing I'm working on the most for me, difficult conversations. So I'm very good at having difficult conversations with my family. So in like the boardroom, we can have really good conversations. This is great. And I feel very safe, very comfortable around, my family who I work with. But outside of the boardroom, I'm like, I bottle up if I'm frustrated. And I think this is where I've been trying to course correct my personality a little bit to play the long game, is I'll be frustrated that, why is there rubbish spilling out on the floor over there? Or why is that box been taped up and the totally branded tape's going the complete wrong way, like no care, and I'll be frustrated. And a few years ago I would have gone straight up and gone, we don't do it like that, and I've tried to respect the come through me as the manager, I'll deal with it appropriately and I'll have a good conversation rather than you creating a walkout. But in doing that, I think I've bottled up a lot of frustration. So sometimes I'll then bottle up a tough conversation because I think, I don't want to create conflict. But then when I explode, I then explode. And so I'm trying to get better at having quick, sharp, honest, frank conversations and feedback sooner. But I hate it. I absolutely hate difficult conversations.
I think
really
you're. I think it's very true what you say. I don't want conflict.
No,
I don't think anybody wants conflict on it. And what you just said there about the personality trait of the frustration, I think you do. You definitely bottle it up. My team will see me leading towards that. My senior team,
really?
like you'd say your family. My senior team is here, and I will be diverted from saying, no, we've got this. I think you should probably go and do something else now, because I can feel it. And you are right. I don't think it's very healthy to bottle it up. But at the same time, we run with all these staff around us. We have responsibilities, and we can't go there running our mouth off just because something isn't straight.
And it creates an absolute bonfire that someone else has then got to clean
and then
up.
they've got to clear it up. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's my biggest thing. Like goals of focuses for me this year is to not avoid difficult conversation. I've got it quite big into this journaling, like writing, being at peace with your own thoughts in the morning. And I've got myself like 5-6 questions that I ask to prompt me for the journal. And one of them is, what difficult conversations am I not going to avoid today? So I almost first thing in the morning, I've got to look at my diary and go, I need, that bugged me yesterday. I need to tell it, because I'm trying to have like an accountability partner to make me go, stop avoiding it. And you're then having to write, what am I not going to avoid? And I'm trying. I mean, I'm literally, we're a few weeks in, but it is working. I've had more difficult conversations.
When Ollie, when people were talking to me pre-Christmas, we had a partner in on Mastermind, and they said to me, I think it's just ridiculous. They're leaving their cars just willingly parked. I know we haven't got white lines in the car park, but I think it's just atrocious and it's just a disrespect. And how can I deal with that? I said, say exactly what you just said to me to them. Stop telling me, tell them. And just say that with the best empathy in the world. But say exactly that whinge to them. And it's almost like you kind of sometimes do need to do that. And we've got to... we don't want to be. I don't want to really be liked, and I don't want to go down the pub with the staff really, but I do want to be respected. And sometimes the respect does come from me going, guys, come on, this is not good enough, But I'm with you. I've got to do that through line managers. It's their the team are responsible to their line managers.
Well, because I think you said earlier about how do I get on with like my brothers, and that was a big part of the conflict when we started growing, and they would be in charge of an area and then I would still circumvent, and that
you're taking it away from me.
That's just put people's back up. So actually,
and you're not letting them grow, because you're just fixing it, robustly fixing it, undermining them, and you're not letting them actually mature.
And actually, grow. A lot of the time, they're so much better than me
at
dealing, because I'm not a good manager, and I don't profess to be a good manager.
Or you don't know that their uncles just died, and that's why they weren't on time for 3 days in a row, and you didn't see any parts of his car.
Or we got a massive order out last night, and he was here till 8 o'clock, so we didn't pack the pallets away. Or it's difficult, but I have got better at that.
So, Ollie, what is the next feature?
Another one.
What are we reading?
That's a bit of me, that one.
This is a professional podcast. Okay, right. What are you reading? Do you read or listen?
I'm a huge reader.
Oh, yeah. All right. Cool.
I'm massive with, again, people think I'm weird, especially my missus. I read, but only with a highlighter. So I always have a traditional highlighter, and I'm reading, highlighting the points as I'm going, and then I'll go back and
then you've got your.
I don't feel like I can read if you've
got your own manual, if you like, to
then
go
I'll
back
back through,
and that is your synopsis.
100%.
I know, I like it.
Yeah, and then what I do is, if 6 months later you go, I read something that resonated about that, and I had a book about that in a challenge or something, and I'll just go up there and I go, all right, just only need to flip through the green lines.
Sinclair writes all over it.
Oh, really?
So you get a book off his shelf, there's all scrawlings all over it, underlinings and squares written all over. It's great.
Oh, wow.
He just trashes
That's
the
a
books.
proper
It's
book,
good.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's
yeah,
good.
that
It's
is.
good.
Yeah. I have to try that. So what I read, I've just finished again the memos from the chairman, and this was a guy, and they've compiled all of. This was the guy who was the CEO of Bear Stearns. I mean, we're going back now but these guys were. They went bust in the 2008. He wasn't the CEO then, but this guy ran an incredible business when it was in its height of its days. And we're going back to like 1930s, 40s. And he used to, obviously everything was memos. And he had like, I think 7,000 employees at the height of it. Wow. And they've compiled all of his memos that he sent out to all the directors, managers, and over the years. And this bloke, like frugality, but he's a lot of humour, and it teaches you within these. So they're really short, sharp memos, but there's loads of like really good lessons that will stand the test. And they're funny as well. Like I walked around last night and I couldn't believe how much of a charity we are. We had enough lights on to fund the whole of Bangladesh. And, like, it's really funny, but then he's also brutal at the end.
Brutally making the point.
Really, and it's actually a really funny
and
read.
Taylor, what's it called?
Notes from the chair. Memos from the chairman.
Right. And do you know who it is?
I forget the.
We'll look it up.
Memos from the chairman, the CEO of Bear Stearns, and it's a great. It's only a small book, and it's got all these things, and that was fantastic. And I reread that and I keep some in my phone because they are just such good, timeless reminders of the basics. And I've just gone on to a new book which is all around Starbucks, and it's all around. It's called The Starbucks Way, and it's all around how they've created their culture, their onboarding, how they use like merchandise. So it's not just cash rewards. They come up with this like pin badge scheme for, employees voting to create that culture of progression, how they do like these onboarding passports. So you get signed off on different coffees. Once you're fully proficient, you can go and talk to a customer about the different beans. Really interesting about how they've developed this culture of obviously so huge, thousands of staff.
They have to have some type of system.
And about the power of like when they made this decision, why don't we make it more personal and write on the cup? And how that was kicked back, but how powerful it was. Really interesting about culture. Obviously, I'm really working on that at the moment, so it feels like a fitting book for me. Cool. So I'm enjoying that.
I've been driving a lot, and I've been listening to Acquired again. Do you like Acquired?
Yeah, great.
To
Yeah.
But I've just listened to, and you're an hour in, Coca-Cola. They've done Coca-Cola.
I haven't seen
you should listen to it. You'd absolutely love them.
Incredible business.
Ben and David do it from Acquired, and the Coca-Cola story is just phenomenal.
Wow.
Is how it all started right back. They were like selling drugs. Wow. It actually had cocaine in it right back in the day. Have you got to that bit yet?
Yeah, and it had like 4 times the amount of caffeine.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's great. That's what it was.
It was like a miracle tonic to start with.
Yeah, it was like I'm the voodoo doctor. That's what they were selling. And it's progressed from there. But Incredible. It is a great story. I mean, I will go back and probably listen to that at least 2 or 3 times again.
Oh, I'll get on that.
And listeners and viewers, if look up Ben and David on Acquired, you will absolutely love them. And they are deep dives. They go into all the money. They go into the strategy of what they were doing, and it's just a great story. And it's very powerful. And it talks about Pepsi in there, and all the other things that were around it. And then who would have known Coca-Cola owned like 300 other brands. And
really?
They trimmed that down to 120.
Wow.
Recently, they trimmed a load out and stuff like that. And the companies they own and stuff like that. It's a phenomenal story. It's a great story. And for entrepreneurs and business owners, the tricks and flicks you can steal from those productions of these podcasts is really good. So that's what we're reading. Yeah. Taylor, I mean, I do appreciate you coming in, because you live a long way from here, and you're to and fro with the plane journey from Dubai. But I've always enjoyed your company when we met at the conferences, and this was overdue, and we were trying to get it together. So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
if people want to find you, you've got a YouTube channel, do all that good stuff. Tell us where they can find you.
Yeah, so obviously on YouTube at Taylor Tassie, I believe the channel is. So we document the day in the life, behind the scenes.
And the company?
And the company, www.totallybranded.co.uk. So yeah, we'd love to.
And if you have, we use Taylor's company. If you've got stuff that you want to get organised, speak to the team, because they will get it done, and they've got so many different ideas and stuff. Your team are brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
If you've enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, leave a comment. There's someone you know that could gain something from what we do here. Pass the pod, and if I'm lucky, I'll see you on the next one.